What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody is doing good, valedictorian. What's going on? How are you? I'm just coming on in. I don't know why, but they scheduled my order to arrive at 7:22. And yeah. So how are you guys doing? Welcome to another edition of Shine Talks. I hope you all had an awesome holiday, whether you celebrate or not, whether you were with your family or you were at home like me. I chilled. Everybody kept calling. I still wasn't feeling my best, and I decided to stay home. So I can't say I didn't have a good time. I had an awesome time in silence, in peace. Good, good. You cannot complain. You cannot complain. All of Key. Hello, hello. Um, so yeah, I just kind of chilled. My daughter came over and um my granddaughter's mother came and they both bought me some food, so I was not slacking on the meals. So actually I went Christmas morning and cooked for my parents, and that took everything that I had. I came home and crashed. So yeah, that was my holiday. Hello, Robert. Hello, Robert. Listen, I want to thank you guys for supporting. It means the world to me when um, the notifications come through, and I try to answer everybody. Um, Sometimes YouTube be tripping on sending the notification, so I don't see it. But when I do see it, even if it's days later, I will respond. Uh, I have been doing better. I will say today, I felt better today than I have in a minute. I will say that. So thank you for asking. So it has been a lot going on in these YouTube streets these days. A lot, a lot, a lot. And I just want to kick it with y'all and see how you guys were feeling about um these here situations that are going on. Um I see it, and I try to get to every one of your messages, Robert. Thank you. It it oh my God, valedictorian, there's so much going on. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. Um, we got the Larry, what did he say? Jesus versus Paul. Um, we got pastor. I just seen the pastor that got that was abused by his wife, but was being extorted by a trans. It's just a lot, sweet Jesus. It's a lot. It's a lot. Jives, brother Jives. Jives has been very vocal. He's been Very, very vocal. And again, I'll say again, he feels how he feels. And what makes sense to you don't have to make sense to me. And what makes sense to me don't have to make sense to you. Um, that's one of the things about being grown and being an adult. You are able to think um, for yourself, thinking believers, um, as well as we have to be aware. We have to study for ourselves because a lot of these things that said over the pulpit, um there are a lot of quotes. um they're it's a lot of quotes, it's a lot of um stuff that's been passed down from generation to generation, um things that we practice and been practicing that we just didn't know any better. Olive Key says, I love jives, LOL. I pray for everyone's mental and spiritual state. May God bless everyone as he sees fit. Um, I agree 100%. If your mental is not okay, your physical won't be okay. Um, and if your physical is not okay, your mental won't be okay. So it is important to keep both of them intact. And then that brings me to last night. Oh my God, awesome interview on the St. James show with the Archbishop Ebenard Jordan and Prophet Manasseh Jordan. And you got to clean all of this out. If you don't want 2026 and the following years to be like this year, you got to do something different. Even if you feel like, even if you feel like um, you're right or your points are valid, um, you have to, I'll say it like this. If you did it one way or you've been doing it one way and it has not worked, and this is just me, the best thing to do, and again, this is just me, the best thing to do, if it has not been working, is maybe to change some things up. That does not mean you have to change you. That does not mean you have to become another person. It just simply means you may have to tweak some things. You may have to tweak some things. And in tweaking those things, you become a better you. If you understand what I'm saying, you become a better you. Um, Robert says when you enter into 2026, leave behind 2025 and what you went through in 2025. You don't necessarily have to leave everything behind. And when people say things, okay, like in one instance, you want to be deep, and then on another end, you want to be dumb. I don't know if I should have said that, but if it has not worked, that's just like any company, any business, anything. If they've been doing it this way for so long, even their logos, if it's not getting what they want or getting the traction that they want, they will definitely change the logo. They'll change the taste of something. McDonald's and had so many things, it's ridiculous. So Hudson's, Macy's was Hudson's. Before that, it was God. I'm looking at it. Mm, 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 mm. But whatever the case, if it didn't work, they changed it. If the same strategy that's been working with you for many years is no longer working for you, then you need to change your strategy. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Courtney. Um, that's just it. Like you really, there's really no other way to say it. Hold on, y'all. Let me do this real quick. So yeah, it's just it's all in how you do it and how you have to do it. Um, Olive Key say if you don't succeed, try again. LOL. But for real, 2026 should be a year of evaluation. It's okay to switch things up. Also, once we hear God, nothing else matters. Welcome in. I am Courtney. Welcome in, the prophetess Tarsha Global. Welcome. Good evening, Jacqueline. Good evening, Jacqueline. All the ladies is coming in. All the ladies are coming in. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna get to this other part where I'm gonna send it in the thing. But yeah. So you have to do some things different, and it's okay. If I find out that me cussing and flipping and flopping ain't working, then I might try to say the same thing but in a different way. If me playing certain type of music is making people feel some kind of way, then I'm gonna stop playing that music. It's just that simple. It doesn't mean that I don't like the music or I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my people. There could be business people in your audience, and they may have something in mind, something that they want to do with you, but it's not that they don't like you, it's that you're not good for that business. Is that making sense? Am I Does that make sense? What's going on, Cruiser? Welcome in, Cruiser. Listen, if y'all not following these people, which y'all probably are because that's how y'all probably got to me, these are amazing women. And I am happy to be a part of a group of women that just care. They always say women can't get along. I get along with everybody. I don't know if it's because I'm in the middle, but this one braid right here, I don't know if that's the case, but whatever it is, I think that it's good to, especially with the men out here, just I think that it's good for us to be able to have conversations together. You ain't heard none of us. You have to do what works and build your platform. I agree. I agree. I agree. Thank you, all the key. I'm trying to talk a little something. Sit at the table with ideas, visions, and growth. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Nicole. Listen, here's the thing. If I can be around people that make millions, I promise you, ain't nobody got to give me nothing. Because it don't take me long. I know how to look. I know how to watch. I'm very observant, and I retain stuff in my brain real good. So you might not have told me how to do nothing, but I watched and I learned, and the ladies in this area get along. Yes, we do. We get along. We support everybody. Hey, if you're not subscribed to me, subscribe to Miss Cruiser. If you ain't subscribed to Cruiser, subscribe to Tarsha. If you ain't subscribed to Tarsha, go on over there to the Juice Radio Talk Show. If you ain't subscribed to her, shoot on over there to Really B. If you ain't subscribed to Really B, you gonna be subscribed to Courtney. And if you ain't subscribed to Courtney, then I don't really know what to do. All of Key say these men fighting like cats and dogs, LOL. But shout out to the women. And we're doing it, and we're doing it, and we're doing it. So I have one of my guests backstage. So I do apologize. Last time I did not introduce anybody. It was not my fault. Well, it was kind of my fault, but it wasn't my fault because I had just left the hospital. So I kind of was, whoop, whoop, but we're here. It's better things to do than bigger and complaining about the next person. Absolutely. So I had two guests on the last show, and y'all probably was like, well, who was that? Well, some people, I'ma say, because they know who y'all are. But some people was like, well, who is that? The newcomers, my new subscribers, the ones that's coming over from all these other places. But whatever the case, there were two awesome women, and I asked them to give me another chance to do it right, or do it better, because what's right to me might not be right to you. But without further ado, one of my guests is here. Um, she is, first of all, she's a New Yorker. She got that accent that took me before I had even know who she was. And then we know, she was over there with Bishop Bishop Bling Bling. Um and she has been doing some great things. She's done some great things. She's on different what do they call them now? TV platforms. I don't know. Hulu. Is it Hulu, Tubi? All of she So I am going to bring up my good Judy. I'm old. Tarsha Global.
Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is having a wonderful holiday season. How are you, Sean? Thank you for the beautiful intro. I'm so grateful to be able to support your platform. And yes, you and I, TY, we get along in this sector. I love all of the women in this
Yes.
sector of YouTube. We are the bomb.com.
Period.
And where's Courtney? Because I need to talk to Courtney. When is her platform starting?
You see how I threw it out there? You see how you like how I had thrown that out there?
Listen, Courtney, we're waiting for you. God, you have an assignment out here, and we need some more women, and you have a voice that needs to be
Absolutely.
heard. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes,
Bishop Bling
Courtney has a
Bling.
great voice.
She
Yes, bling
does.
bling. He is in jail right now.
Blinking. Hey, Jives. Hi, brother.
Oh,
That's all right. I don't
Jives.
care what y'all say,
Do
my
y'all
brother.
know that Jives was the first show that I came on when I found out about YouTube?
I remember that.
Yep, Jives. He's the
I
one.
remember that.
Yep, he was the first platform that I ever even clicked the link on, and he was the one who broke the Whitehead story. So shout out to Jives. I will always be a supporter of Jives.
Listen, I love Jives. Jives was the first person that I actually like subscribed to as far
Mm-hmm.
as YouTube. I
Mm-hmm.
watched TK, I had watched LR, I had watched a whole bunch of people, but he was that first platform that I ever subscribed to and that I
Yes.
started like watching all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
listen, everybody get they start with who they get they start with. Whoever was the first, God bless them for starting it. But what I will
Yeah.
say is some great things have come out of YouTube.
Oh
Even with all
yes.
the mess. Even with all of the mess, it's still been a lot of good things to come out of it. So okay, so here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Um, this next guest is our up and coming new page. We're gonna keep speaking that into existence. We can always count on her to have a good comment or a great question to ask in anybody's chat on any platform. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in boop, 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 boop. Hey Courtney.
Hey, ladies. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Tarsha.
Hello, how are you? Hi,
I'm great.
Courtney. Did you hear what I asked you?
I did kind of.
Okay, so I'm going to say it here. When are you going to start your platform?
Oh my God. That. Mm.
All you need to do is get your phone and just turn it on and start talking. You don't need to get no equipment. Don't be up there. I need to just get your phone and we
You
need
know
to hear what you
exactly.
got to
That's
say.
what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, I
You
need
just
to get
gotta
this
start.
equipment.
Yeah.
You just gotta cause you gon' cause when I first started, it took about a couple months. I just kept thinking about it. I had all these notes, I had all of this stuff, and it was just like okay, my background don't look like this. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. I don't have that. And it was just like, just turn your phone on and just go ahead on. And the more you do it, then you'll see what you want to have. Because you might not want to have a hanging mic or like you might want to do a clip on mic. You might want to do,
Mm-hmm.
you may start off in your bedroom and then you may say, okay, I want to do this and build it up. Like it's
Hmm.
so many different things that come with it. It's just doing it at your pace. Don't be trying to go out here and get no whole bunch of stuff and
I sure was.
no.
No, you don't need to. All of my videos um, that I have, honestly, I'm actually, as I speak, purchasing finally a camera. All of my videos have been done on my second iPhone. I have a second iPhone, so it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing fancy over here. I think the only fancy thing I use is Canva. So, I use my phone, but God is telling me it's time to upgrade because people call me when I'm on live stream and it interrupts my program. So get your phone, get your StreamYard, or you don't even need StreamYard. Just hook your phone up and go live. And you're gonna
Go
people
live
gonna
on
come over
YouTube.
there and we want to hear what Courtney has to talk about.
My
Hmm.
God, I am overwhelmed. And the only reason why I say that is because, believe it or not, I don't, believe it or not, I don't like to talk a lot,
Me
even
either.
though I do.
But
Hmm.
see,
All
that's the
right.
thing. I am very shy. I don't even talk to my choirs for real when I'm teaching or nothing. They be like, "Why?" I just don't. Um,
Hmm.
Even doing programs, I'll have somebody else do all of the. I don't do none of that. There are some times where I might want to come on in the morning, and I'm like, "No, I don't have. I don't. What I'm gonna put on? What I'm a." And then before you know it, it's like 7 o'clock at night, and I'm like, "Dang." And then everybody is coming on, and it's like, oh. Then before you know it, it's 1:30 in the morning, and we just getting off St. James Live, and then it's like, okay, we gonna start this cycle all over again tomorrow. So it just took some getting back used to it because I really was even here. I was like, I ain't turning my camera on because I ain't got my pictures up, I ain't got my wall painted, I ain't got, and I was like, okay, and
Well,
But
see.
I appreciate the support of everyone,
Hmm.
and especially in the chat. And I will definitely be, praying for direction. And
Hmm.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
you
appreciate
see, you
everyone. I
see
really
what
do.
Cruiser said.
Which, hold on,
You
what she
said
say?
I was told that by a CC named Lady Nika. I hope I said that right. She said Miss
Uh,
Cruiser hit the live button and talk.
Miss
Yes.
Cruiser can talk though. She got the gift of gab, and she has it to where she engages you, like you want to sit and listen to her talk. So,
Not Miss
Yes.
yeah,
Courtney.
she got
Miss
it.
Courtney. Miss Courtney.
Hmm.
Miss Courtney.
Hmm.
We'll go from a regular live to a members only to a
Hmm.
Patreon. And Miss Courtney has something to say in each one of them. Good
Yes.
stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And Courtney doesn't know. People have contacted me like, "Who's Courtney? What's her channel?" I'm like,
Oh wow.
"Courtney is a
Mhm.
Courtney is a subscriber."
Right.
After
I have
after
been
I
asked several
after
times.
yes, after I did that live about the cease and desist gate situation, people were emailing me, "Well, who's Courtney? What's her channel?" And I had to say, well, she's a supporter, she's a subscriber, and you find her over at St. James channel, either as a guest on the panel or in the chat. So people are already looking for you.
Hmm.
And there's a saying that says when the what is it? When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
I mean, listen, it's so I'm gonna say this real quick
Hmm.
because my delivery is on its way, so I may have to shoot, but I know y'all can do it. So if I just pop off camera, y'all know that I just had to run to the elevator real quick. So um
Okay. Well, what topic are we discussing that you want Courtney and I to get it
I'm
going here?
so I was Courtney asked me the other day, like, what you wanna and like I told her, there are a lot of times that we just get up and talk. We see the comments, they move fast, so we can't get to all of them. And then me, I want to know, like, from you guys' standpoint. Let's start with the the Larry, the Paul versus Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What, because I did do a short one on it. I know how I feel, but I'm gonna ask you guys, what did you all feel about it, or what's your take on it?
Well, do you want to go first, Courtney, or should I?
You should, Tarsha. Go ahead.
Okay, so my take is going to be a little bit as usual, completely different than everyone else on the internet. Number one, Larry Reed does not believe in anything that the traditional black church believes in anymore, right? And so what I have been doing is ignoring his latest theological stunts, because in Larry's private community, which I was a part of, Larry for the most part is a hoodoo practitioner. Let me say that again. He is a hoodoo practitioner, and he over there, he teaches his Patreon how to do hoodoo and voodoo spells. Okay. And so I cannot even feed into his theological input because it doesn't line up with anything that anyone from the traditional black church has taught. Okay. This is a man who has encouraged his Patreon when I was there to purchase candles and oil to do voodoo spells on those who are he who those who he deems his enemies out here in the social media space. And so what am I saying? I cannot really take him serious because I believe it's semantics. It's semantics to keep the gullible church women over there tied to him. He's never going to come out in the public to admit that he no longer believes in the traditional teachings that we learn in the black church. He's not going to come, because you know why? It's going to affect his bottom line. When I was over there, he was telling everybody, those who are in his high donors, to go and get some dirt to put in a jar and put the name of one of his enemies in there so they could do a root working spell. So, but out
Is
here
that
in
what that black sand stuff that they were talking about?
yes, because I did a live on it 2 years ago. And so this is my point. And from my perspective, he's very contradictory, and I'm gonna tell you why. In the private community, you are a hoodoo practitioner, but to the public platform, you're pandering to the black church because most of your followers are gullible women from the black church who, they're looking for a leader, and he doesn't want to lose that bottom line because those are his high donors. And so this is where my standpoint is. From a theological standpoint, I do not agree with him. I agree that for me, I no longer am attached to the traditional church system, but I still believe just about everything that I was taught, right? What I do not respect about him is that to the public, he's pandering to these church women to get their money, but behind a paywall, you're teaching them you're teaching how to do spells, you're teaching how to do witchcraft, you're telling people to go outside and get some dirt to put some of your enemies in, and also to try to hinder other people from being successful. So you putting them in a jar. And what is my point? I ignored Larry when it comes to his points theologically, because you cannot serve two masters. You're going to either love one or you're going to hate the other. And that is my point. That is my position.
Okay. I okay. Courtney, we're gonna get to you and then we're gonna answer Miss Cruiser question.
Tarsha summed it up for me. I used to be over there as well, in the Patreon, and when he started to take a turn earlier on, I had to go ahead and get off the ship because it just was not in alignment with my foundational beliefs. So I didn't know he was doing all of that. So I probably got out by then. When he was doing all of that, I got out before then. But yeah, no, definitely not a follower of Jesus, and totally against everything that I believe. So I don't listen to him as well. I can't even take his commentary because I figured, well, at least I could just, go around there, see what he's talking about and all of that good stuff. But I can't even do that anymore, because it's laced with his new belief system that is totally against what I believe.
Wow, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I like what Miss Cruiser says in the chat. She says, my question is why discuss and endorse what you do not agree with? I question why Bishop Felton engaged. And so this is the situation too, because see, we all know that Black women are the biggest financiers of the kingdom, and mostly, let's just face it, most ministries are the reason why they're able to sustain is because of women. And I think that it's very deceptive, like Miss what you do not believe in. And so at the end of the day, this is my problem. We cannot keep.
Okay, I think Tarsha had to step away for a minute. Let's see. My question is why discuss and endorse what you do not agree with? I question why Bishop Felton engaged. Did he now Cruiser, did he engage with Larry? Let me see if I can go to the chat. Uh mm,
Hello?
okay.
I'm sorry, my sister just called to simply say she's on the Belt Parkway.
Oh.
And so, yes, I agree with Cruiser. Why are you promoting one thing, but behind a paywall, you believe something else? This is my thing. I'm like you, Courtney. I cannot take anything he says. Oh no, on another show. Okay, I understand. Miss Cruiser says that happened on another show. Okay, well, I'm going to stick to this show where Larry apparently is talking about there's a what there's a confusion regarding his stance, Jesus and Paul. Now let me just say this: God is not the author of confusion. Do you see how this is now causing a confusing conversation? And what I have heard over there, I have heard many. After I don't know when you left the Patreon, Courtney, but I left right when the spell started. I
Okay.
left right when he started teaching the patrons how to do hoodoo spells, right? And so what I am saying here, like you, I exited stage left. And then on top of that, the whole situation with I forgot what happened. It was something else about putting the enemies in a jar. My thing is we have prayer, right? So, what do you believe in? There's a contradiction. And I think that's what my point is today. There has to be a clear communication. So, I feel like the people that are over there, what what do they believe in? Why are they following this leader? What are their religious tenets? Is it a ministry? Is it entertainment? Is it a school? Is it a coven of witches? Like what is really going on here?
Sean, I don't know if you're back or not yet, but Cruiser
I'm,
asked if you could drop the link.
oh, okay. Hold on, I'm about to put it in
Hmm.
here right now.
Because Cruiser is saying that's not necessarily what she's saying, Tarsha. So I think she's gonna come on and give some.
Oh, okay, okay,
Uh-huh.
okay. All right. I don't want to veer off. So if she can make herself clear, that would be wonderful.
Wait, what had happened? I had just ran downstairs. I put the link in the chat. Okay.
Hey, ladies.
Welcome,
Hello.
Cruiser. Welcome,
Hello,
welcome,
chat.
welcome.
Hello. So I wanted to explain, if it's okay, what I meant by I didn't understand why I felt engaged. So I'm one that believe in people believe in have a right to believe as they want to believe, and I'm not going to always agree. Sometimes I don't agree on a surface level, like whether you should be apostolic and believe in oneness or Trinitarian and believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, the triune or Trinity. That's real surface, you know. You could those type people can get together and fellowship together. Then you have whether you believe in as a Jehovah Witness or a Christian, or are you Catholic or Christian, or are you? Then you get deeper into that. It's are you Buddha? You know, do you believe? Are you an atheist, or you believe in someone who believe in witchcraft and those type things? But whatever it is, even if I don't agree with it, I feel like other people have a right to believe as they believe, and I'm going to respect them. I ain't got to agree with them, but I'm gonna respect them. So when it comes to when Larry put that out, I didn't understand why people were, and I guess it's content, but I didn't understand why people were debating it. Like for me, everything is not content. I know what I believe in, I know what I stand on, and I have no need to debate Larry in it. And I didn't understand why Bishop Felton. He went on another show, it wasn't Larry's show, but it was a different show. I didn't understand why he felt the need to go on and debate that because um, people believe different, and you ain't always got to agree with them. I don't need everybody to agree as I believe, if that makes sense.
Well, see,
And sometimes and then the other thing with that is that to me, you adamantly against what he saying, but when we talk about it, we're endorsing it and passing it along and
well,
bringing attention to it.
in some cases, yes. But the only reason that I was talking about it is because there are babes in the church. I look at it like this: you have your preschooler, kindergartners, your middle school, your high school, and your college also in church. So when you have newcomers that come in, although they may have a covering or they belong to a church, if you spend a lot of your time on YouTube, just like some of us was caught in the web for a minute, there are people who are not as strong to come out. So sometimes I think telling the difference or giving some type of reference and letting people study for themselves and then say, okay, well, hey, yeah, this may work for me, but I don't like this. That's how I am now with even church. I don't just go to everybody's church because everybody's church is not for me. So if I go into somewhere and the preacher could be talking about anything, if it's not doing anything for me, that word is not for me. It may be for someone else there. So sometimes we have to inform people of the rights and the wrongs so that they won't get caught in the web. Because me personally, the things that I grew up on and I thought was right, that's so far from what really is. But I went through this whole transition in life and feeling like I wasn't this and I wasn't that and I was going to hell for this and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. Where we're older now and we know the difference, I want to kind of stop somebody from going in that if possible, not necessarily bringing awareness or bringing um uh light to him, because I don't believe nothing he say. But there was a time when I did, if that makes sense.
I think Cruiser, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying why would Felton engage with Larry on that topic? Is that correct?
He was engaging with Thais on the topic. Um,
Oh, not Larry.
And
mhm.
see, even with
Okay.
Bishop Felton, he's a hard one for me to even listen to because I disagree with more than I agree with when he's talking.
But my point is that but you do agree with him when it comes to this topic, that Apostle Paul was a follower of Christ, that he was an apostle of the Lord. He was an apostle of Christ. So even with all the other things that you may disagree with, y'all agree on that. So I just don't understand debating your faith, because it's, to me, faith and belief and inspiration is so very personal. And even for babes in Christ, most of the people that go over certain places, they're not babes. There are people who was raised in church and been around the church and very active in the church, and they find themselves, so it's not like you're trying to get them away, because most of the time they're going to stay up under the pastor they came to Christ under, or the person they came to Christ under. You know what I mean? So they're going to stay right up under that. So so this is kind of a thing that's kind of isolated right here online among people who come to this section of YouTube. They already pretty much, I don't want to say established in church, but churchy people. So people are going to go where they want and do what they want. Just for me to be clear, what I'm saying, to me, I was very stubborn about not discussing it because I didn't want to endorse it.
Oh yeah, and that was one of my reasons, because I didn't want to, like, I ain't never told nobody to go over there and watch it or look or do any of that, because I'm scared that if he has one of them voices that if you start listening, you'll be stuck for a minute if you don't have the strength. It's not a bringing awareness to him per se. I'm more looking at the topic, because a lot of us do believe like that. There are a lot of people who go by who wrote the Bible, and they think about Peter, and we supposed to be, I heard Bishop Wooden say earlier, we were supposed to be like Solomon or something. And I'm like, sir, we're not Solomon. Like, where are you coming with these things at? To me, the Bible is a manual. But just like when we get, let's say for instance, we get an entertainment center, we gonna look at it, we may read it, but in actuality, we really do what we want to do. Unless something is wrong, then we'll pick up the book like, well, why this ain't fitting, this ain't supposed to go. If that makes sense.
I think at the end of the day, um, I'm definitely not on social media to try to convert anyone or anything like that. I think just as long as you balance everything out with information. So you have the information that he's giving, research for yourself. Most people won't, but and make an informed decision about your spirituality, because like Cruiser said, that's personal. And so, I don't bother anybody when it comes to that. I just stand firm in what I believe, and I'm definitely not one to debate it with anyone.
I agree. I
Yes,
agree. I agree. That's yeah.
I
Cause
agree
see,
with. Yes,
trying to debate with somebody about something like that is trying to debate their religious stance or what denomination they're a part of. We can be talking about that all every for hours, because every denomination thinks that they're right. So trying to convince someone of something is you can't really do that.
And at the point in life that you realize that it ain't really about being right or wrong, it's about having relationship. See, I can't say what's right or wrong for Courtney, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because her relationship with God is hers.
Exactly.
So at some point we have to realize that we have personal, individual relationship with God. Are we a body and a collective? Yes, but let me use. I have three kids. And I love them all equally. I love them all equally, but not the same
Not the same.
because they're not the same, and they don't have the same needs, and they don't have the same characteristics. I have my 31-year-old son. He's a boy. He's autistic. He's nonverbal. He doesn't have the same need as my middle child, who's bisexual. She has a son, you know, and she's above average intellectually. Then I have my baby girl, my 25-year-old. She's spoiled. She has epilepsy, you know, and she's just like me. She's got to get to the gas. So all of my kids are so very different, and their needs are so very different, and their callings on their life is so very different, and their struggles are so very different. So it's the same with us with God. You imagine I'm a woman with very limited this and that. But God is the creator of the universe. He's everything. And he
Hmm.
created all of us, and all of us are his children, and we're not the same. So the fact that we feel like we need to draw people in to believe just like us, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's
And I
never going
just
to
don't
happen.
believe that everybody needs to agree with me. And the way I believe, it ain't if that is right or wrong. It's my relationship, and it's how I engage with God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is I wanted to do this last week, but I didn't feel good. So please forgive me. And then we have Miss Cruiser with us. So I'm gonna do this real quick. I got five ladies, okay, that I'm gonna put on the screen. And when I put them up, I want we can go. I don't know how it looks on everybody else's screen, but it's Tarsha, I am Courtney, and then Miss Cruiser. So I grabbed five different women who I deemed are saved. I can't talk. Listen, everybody got their own walk. Church women, I'll say that have been scrutinized. They have been said that they're not women of God, and then there are some that are beyond the shadow of a doubt women of God, no matter what you say. Okay. Okay. So here go the first one, Miss Carrie, Doctor Carrie Bryant.
Love her. Amazing woman.
I like Dr. Carrie. I love her
Hmm.
outfits.
I have
Listen,
absolutely no idea who she is.
that's
That's
Jamal
Jamal
Bryant's
Bryant's
wife.
wife.
Oh, girl.
I love
Y'all,
Cruiser. I
do
promise you.
y'all know I don't know celebrities, but go ahead. Okay,
I
Jamal Brown. Now, is
love.
that his
I
is that his current wife or his
Yes, current.
okay, current wife? Okay.
His current wife. So I chose her because people focus so much on her fashion, her body, but taken away from the fact that she really speaks well. She teaches well. She has her hand in more things than you could probably imagine. But because she doesn't look like what they say she should dress like, she catches a lot of slack. And I don't understand why.
I
What is
understand
it?
why. I understand why because I went through the same thing when I was in the traditional church. First of all, when I was in the traditional church, a lot of the women in there, and I'm gonna just say it, they were haters. They want you to come to church with your skirt down to your ankle. They want you to look like you just got off a Little House on the Prairie or the Color Purple, and they don't want you to attract anything. They want you to look. I'm sorry, my baby's crying.
That's okay.
And, and so the legalism, because I was in the holiness church, right? And so the legalism that I endured made me break away from those traditional beliefs. And so I would come to church with my dress on that maybe they felt was, it wasn't tight, my butt wasn't poking out, but this is, I have a lot of beautiful clothes. Why should I hide the clothes that God gave me to appease a legalistic system? And so I commend the women like Dr. Carey who are breaking the boundaries of tradition and showing that you can dress modest, but guess what? We can't help if we have a shape. There's certain things that you're going to wear, right? That even if you wear a long skirt, if you have a shape, a man is going to see through it. And so I applaud her, and I love the fact that she's an educated woman of God and an example to the next generation. And so for me, I think a lot of it is jealousy. That's it.
I agree. I agree.
But
Welcome, the prelate Saint James in.
I'm down in the chat trying to press buttons, trying to find
You
stuff. So y'all apologize if I'm dropping stuff in the chat. I concerning a certain look in the church. Most of y'all probably know I was, or I am legally still, was married to an elder. In an organization, an apostolic organization, and when I was at just the local church, it was no issue. But every time a convention come up, I knew it was going to be an issue because my husband is 7 years older than me, and he's the elder. So they wear pads and it is. I don't wear pantyhose. I ain't wearing no pantyhose on my legs. They itch, whatever.
But my thing is with that, what does the clothing have to do with your anointing or your calling? Because I know a whole bunch of folks that wore their skirts and stuff down to the ground. It was
Well,
just
now
as.
I'm gonna say this. I didn't mean to talk um
Go
over
ahead.
you, but now we do need to be modest. Now some of this stuff I'm seeing, I'm gonna be honest with you. This sexy Jesus thing going on. I'm not talking about Pastor Carey. I'm talking about in general, some things that I've seen along the way, like bodycon dresses in the pulpit. Some of this stuff is ridiculous, and we just got to be honest about that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we do need to dress modest. You can be shapely, all the things, but come on. Some of this stuff is like, come on now.
I say go back to the robes. God dog it. Go back to the robes and put on what you're gonna put on outside of church or after church or whatever. Because realistically, we're human. Okay. Hey Denise, realistically we're humans and men and women both look at each other whether they want to really say it or not. It don't make you nothing. Because if there's a man in the pulpit with a tight suit on and he has a bulge, the men and the women seen it. Just like if they're in the pulpit with one of the, what you call the dresses again, Courtney? Con
Bodycon.
those, the men and the women are going to look. It's not out of being nasty or anything like that. And stuff like that can take your attention, can take the attention away from what you're doing and put it on what you got on.
I agree. I agree. And I too think that bodycon dresses are out of pocket and inappropriate for, especially if you are doing ministry in the pulpit, because you're walking back and forward and parts are jiggling and people are going to be distracted by your body parts. And so we have to learn to, if we're going to wear certain things that may not seem quote unquote traditional and we want to express ourselves through our clothing, it has nothing, our clothing doesn't have anything to do with our anointing. But at the same time, we are to dress modest and bodycon dresses in the pulpit. Someone got mad at me because I told them that you're doing praise and worship. I could see your panty line. You don't have you don't have the proper undergarments on. And then when you're on stage, where people may not understand, when you are on the pulpit and there is certain lighting that amplifies, and it's almost like an x-ray through whatever you're wearing, right? And so we
Mm-hmm.
also have to be mindful of what we're wearing, the certain what is it, undergarments that we're wearing, because this also applies to the men too. Some of these men are wearing their pants so tight you can see
Come on.
their
That's
You
right.
my mother got in trouble at church the other week because she told the bishop's son who was up in the pulpit, you need to go back to wearing robes because I can't focus on the service because there's something going on down there that's poking out. I mean, just keep it real. My mother's outspoken, by the way. And she
and
said to
that's
him,
true.
why do I have to be distracted by that? Oh, Sister Howard, here you go again. And guess what? Three other mothers in the church spoke to him about it that same week. About him, he got rid of the robes now. He's wearing these. I don't know if you've seen the men wear. They're like these Italian cut slim suits. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, those are for men who are slender. If you got a little chunkiness to you, then you put those type of suits on. Yes, your certain parts for a man are going to be more pronounced. So
Exactly.
these things, in my opinion, it goes for both genders, male and female. I fall into the category of I want to dress beautiful, I want to dress also modest, but I also don't want anybody trying to put their expectations on what they think my anointing should look like, right? And when I
Mm-hmm.
was in the holiness church, it was all about no makeup, no earrings, put the white doily on your head, and a long skirt all the way down to the ankle. But guess what? The girls that was dressing like that, every summer they was getting pregnant.
Come on.
They was coming back.
Say that.
You don't see
Say
them
that.
after the summer. You don't see them to the next year, and then they come back with a 1 year old.
That.
Here I am coming in with my hot pink dress on, not tight, but this is what I want to wear, and I'm getting judged every Sunday. But I'm living a holy, sanctified lifestyle. So
But
if we
see,
want to talk about it, let's talk about it.
I
I think
listen.
I think that eh, you know when you're seasoned in church, you look in the mirror. Like with me, I'll before I walk out my door, I walk by at least 6 or 7 mirrors on the way out, and reflections and car reflections. So there should be a conviction when you're dressed a certain way. We all want to go and look good. Like I was saying before, I don't know what happened with the panel. I'm bottom heavy. So, when I put on something, regardless, my mom had to tell me, why are you wearing those sacks? And you'd be like, well, I don't want to go to church. She said, honey, you're going to have a shape, whether you have it on loose or you have it on tight, you're going to have a shape. So buy you some
Mhm.
clothes that fit your sugar. That's what mama told me. But, my mama's Methodist and I was going to my husband's church, which is apostolic. So, yeah, sometimes people come to church and they purposely come to church to get a certain attention, and that's just what it is. But we all know when we walk out the door what we have on, whether we just trying to look cute, trying to look nice, or if we're going in there to try to attract something. You know what I'm saying?
And
And that goes for both men and women.
yeah, because you can't tell me as a man you don't see your stuff sticking out. You first of all, as a man, you know what size you are, and when you put your drawers on, you know right then how them pants is gonna fit. So and then there are some guys who have hips and they have high butts, and so all of those things you have to take all of those into consideration. What I wear to outside of church, I don't I don't cross them because I still have reverence and respect for the house of God.
But we don't want to stifle people either, because when I
No,
was
no, no, no,
younger,
no.
when I was about 20 years old, um, I got to a point where I didn't want to do a little dance in the church because there was this minister, and I don't think he meant wrong, meant anything bad. But we was, you know how you have after service and it's just like the members or whatever. And they was
Mm-hmm.
talking about how different people shout. And somebody said something about when I shout, my behind jiggled. I was only 20, 21 years old. And that thing embarrassed me so bad because I didn't know. And that thing embarrassed me so bad that for years,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even want to stand up.
Yeah.
And,
Only thing
and then
I don't.
listen, back then I was 125, 130 pounds, soaking wet. And so I couldn't help what was back there. But it made me not want to stand up for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to be careful in thinking a certain way in what we say because we make people, you know, it was something my daddy said years later when we discussed it years later. He said, I hated that you felt that way because first of all, that nigga shouldn't be looking.
That's right.
I totally agree with that. Everybody hit the like button, please hit the like button, please. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my next one. This one I brought up because she is a part of the gospel industry, and some may say she's a part of the secular industry, but she's a gospel artist. And then she has the position that only comes around, everybody don't get there. And that's the beautiful. She is so pretty. She looks so good now. Like, well, not now, but her transition, she's wearing it well. Karen Clark Sheard. She catches a lot of flack because one, she's the first lady of the National Church. She's also a gospel artist, and she also does a lot of work with secular artists. Does that have anything to do with her salvation?
Girl, recognize, is that Clarence Clark Sheard? That's all right.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll say this. A lot of us, our anointings, right? The lesson that has gotten lost, our anointing is not just for the four walls of the church, right? And yes, people are anointed in music ministry, but they have an ear for music, right? And so, why should their gift be limited to the four walls of the church? In my opinion, that doesn't mean that they still can't go and create a masterpiece worship song or a masterpiece, a gospel song, if they're being now pulled with other opportunities in the secular space. That's my opinion. I also think that when you are now being called into the secular space, you're now being opened up in the marketplace, in the industry, and in the mountain of influence that God is calling you to. So when I saw the movie about the Clark sisters, the part of the movie that got me upset is when the leaders of the board of the Kojic church organization got upset with Maddie Morse Clark for my favorite song, sun, what is it called? Sunshine.
You brought the
You,
sunshine.
yeah, you, that is, oh my goodness, I love that song. And they got upset because they brought in the secular song as the foundation, the secular, what is it? I'm not a music person. Beat of the song for the
Yeah.
song, right?
It was a
So I,
Stevie Wonder beat. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I just think, in my opinion, that I see nothing wrong with it because you always are going to come back home, and it's a personal relationship. And I believe that God will use you to open up new doors, not only for yourself, but for your ministry, and that we can also be a bridge. And I think sometimes that's the message that upsets me, because the church likes to keep everything in house when there's a whole world that is out there that needs to know who you are and to know your gift. And that's all I have to say.
I agree.
I agree
Jesse
with
say,
that.
hold on. Jesse says he feel like she gets slack because her clothes be a little funny looking. The, to that, when you're getting your clothes made, they should know the difference between a church service and what they would call a gig. That's just in my personal opinion. The whole thing with the You Bought the Sunshine, that made them able to reach outside of the four walls. It's kids that sing that now. So when you put this stipulation on the people that you're only supposed to sing in church, I think that's crazy. Go ahead, Courtney.
I was gonna say that I think gospel and hip hop. Um, what am I trying to say? I think that gospel has influenced hip hop. Actually, I think a lot of the people that are wanting to do the collaborations with gospel artists have been inspired by their music, and so I don't see a problem with it. But I do question, why is it that for some it's not an issue, if the Clark sisters do it, but they have a problem with like Tasha doing something with Nicki Minaj or Kirk doing something with Glorilla.
And see, even with that, even when they do the crossover or whatever, you people feel like because they are singing secular or they're R&B artists or they're rap artists that they not saved. And that's so far from the truth. That's how a lot of if you listen to a lot of these people, if you listen to their interviews, they were rooted and grounded in church, be it their mother, their grandmother, their grandfather was a pastor, their uncles was pastors. All of these people are rooted and grounded in church. They just chose a different they just chose secular music.
Well, now
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this to that. I okay, this gonna be controversial, but I'm ready.
Here go Courtney.
You ought to show some sign, though. Now, if I'm saved, right, and filled with the Holy
Your
Ghost,
phone going in and out.
but I'm singing about, I know because I'm driving. I'm sorry, y'all. Can
Okay.
y'all hear me?
You're good. You're
Mm-hmm.
good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, but I'm singing about something that's contradictory to my belief system. That's a problem for me. Now I don't know about anybody else, but I think that's a
Yes,
problem
I agree.
because I
I
have to
agree.
show some signs.
But will you? But what would you be singing that contradicts your belief? I have no issue if you listen. If you see my what you call it playlist, or if you riding in the car with me and we're going on a long trip and we're listening to music, it may go from secular to gospel. Hear some Teddy Pendergrass, and then next thing you're gonna hear some Clarence Clark, and then you might hear a little Biggie, Biggie, and then you might. I just love music. Now, I think that there is some music I hear that I hear gospel in it. Like when I hear, I think it's Mary J. Blige sings. No. It's Monica that sings "You're Everything to Me." The air that I breathe.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I hear every time I hear that song, it's worship to me. Every single time. There was a song that the bars used to sing. I call your name. Do y'all know that I think that his mother originally wrote that song and he switched it over to switched it over. But anyway, so when I hear that song, I'll call your name, Lord, and they have a little breakdown in that song where it says, "When I'm lonely,
Mm-hmm.
when
When I'm
I'm
discouraged.
down, when I'm discouraged." Yeah, right. So we we're we're so traditionally churched that we put everything into a category. Uh, Fantasia. I believe she has an anointing on her life.
Oh
I,
yes,
and I and I
Fantasia is
personally
anointed.
know how Fantasia was raised. I was on the High Point Community Gospel Choir with Fantasia. I'm from High Point. I live in High Point. High Point is
I'm
a little
looking
Indian
forward
town.
to her. I'm looking forward to her gospel album coming out.
I can't wait. I love her.
But you know, if you ever go to a Fantasia concert, you're going to church. If you ever go
This is
to
what I'm.
Uncle
I'm
Charlie
sorry. Go ahead.
concert, you're going to church.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying though. What I'm saying, singing about love is one thing, but singing about booty, hoes, and all that
Are you talking about the
is
gangster rap?
women sing about it too. So I don't. I'm talking
They
about
gangster
singing
rappers too.
about anything contrary that will be like, I'm not talking about, you singing about love or you singing about something, that's pretty neutral. But if I'm singing about that walk, I don't think that glorifies. I mean, what am I trying to that it just it doesn't witness to my belief. Now, some people could say that's just entertainment, and to that I say, okay, okay, that's you know your level of entertainment. That's fine. But there are certain people like there's this guy. He sing Gasolina. I can't remember his name though. He will not sing that song anymore because it doesn't align with his witness now. You know what I'm saying? It's not in alignment
Mm-hmm.
with his what he believes. So that's all I'm saying. Like PJ Morton, he sings about love. I think it's amazing. I'll go to his concert. You know what I'm saying? Um, who else? There's other people that sing about love. I love Fantasia and all of that. But we not.
I
So are
understand
you
what you're
referring to,
saying.
can I give you another example? Kanye West. Y'all know Kanye West do the gospel? So is he a good example of what you're referring to?
I think I know what she's trying to say. I think I know. This is what she's trying to say. Like, for instance, myself, I love my praise and worship, but I'm a huge Mary J. Blige fan, right? So at any given point, you will hear an R&B. I'm a big R&B fan, but I am not a gospel singer. So my genre of music, I'm not. Nobody's going to really be looking at me like, "Oh, Tasha, you over there in your apartment blasting uh, Mary J. Blige's first album." No, what I believe she's saying is, and Courtney, you can let me know if I'm wrong, if Tasha Cobbs were to pop out tomorrow with a single that says "Pop This Coochie," I think that everybody in the gospel realm is going to be like, what is going on with Tasha Cobbs? So I don't think it's from our standpoint as the listener, but I think what she's trying to say is like people like Jacqueline Carr is my favorite. Jacqueline Carr, Tasha Cobbs. If these artists go out into the secular world and then they start creating a rap song with Nicki, "Pop This Coochie," turn it up, and you see them on a van with hoochie shorts on, popping it like it's hot. Then we're gonna be like, wait a minute, what in the world is going on with Tasha Cobbs? What is going on with Jacqueline Carr? I think that there's a line of demarcation. So if they go out into the
Yes,
secular space, right, and they
yes,
collaborate, and they keep their faith and what they stand for and what their audience has been known them by, that is fine. But once they cross totally over and they forget about every praise is to our God, and next thing you know, they just up there popping it like it's hot, then we're gonna be like, okay, something is going on here. So I think that's what Courtney is trying to say. Am I right or
that's
not?
exactly what I'm saying. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
cause see, even like Jesse said, Coco wouldn't sing downtown. Salt from Salt and Pepper didn't want to sing Push It. So it really, it's one of those, you gotta know your own level.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you know your own level, then there's just certain things that you will not do, even though you did it before. Or like Coco sings downtown now, but it doesn't. have the same meaning and feeling to her now as it did then. She
Y'all
wasn't
remember that
in that
lady that used to
space.
always sing about adultery? What was her name? Shirley Murdoch. Shirley
Oh, I thought you were
Murdoch.
talking about Betty White. I was gonna say.
Well, she never, yeah, she never came. She never, well, I don't know if she did gospel or not, but Shirley Murdoch is a minister now, of music. And so when they remade, when she got with, who was it that she got with her and they remade As We Lay.
Yeah.
She was talking about it. She at the end of it, she tried to, they set it up to where she was giving her some advice, girl, come on out of there with that woman husband.
Yeah,
Um,
and when she
so
does her
yeah, so
concerts now, it's different.
yeah,
It's different.
when you come in, and I brought up the example of Kanye. Kanye does West. I think that I'm pronouncing his name right. He does a lot of gospel. Like he went over to London a couple of years ago and did a gospel album, I think. But his music would not. It, that's when I was thinking about when I was listening to what Courtney was saying. I was trying to think of an example, and that's this example that came to my mind. Where you kind of, on one hand, you're not doing rap music that really glorify God, and then on the other hand, you're producing a gospel album that. And let me say this real quick. I was talking about Karen Clark, Sheer. I remember when that song "Sunshine" came out, and I remember as a kid, that song was played on secular radio. And my grandmother, I recall my grandmother didn't even realize that it was a gospel song because she could not hear the lyrics because of the beat of that um, Stevie Wonder beat. But as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, um, that was the first time I probably connected to God listening to that song. Honestly, you know, um, that song, "Jesus is the what's the lyrics? I can't remember the lyrics now, but I remember in the lyrics they clearly said Jesus.
Yeah, can I get a witness for Jesus will make a difference? I mean,
Your life. Right. So as a kid, I'm listening to the beat. That's probably what drew me to the song. But as a kid, and now I'm hearing the lyrics, and I'm enjoying hearing Jesus,
mhm.
and feel and can feel something as a kid. As a kid that wasn't taken to church unless I was at my grandmother's, one of my grandparents' house. I wasn't raised in church like most people, and so I hated that was the church's reaction to that music back then because it was reaching some people that it wouldn't. Again, I wasn't churched. I went to church when I was at one of my grandparents' house, but my parents didn't take us to church.
Mhm.
And that song
Mhm.
came on secular radio.
All the time, all the
Hmm.
time to this day.
I ain't
Still.
hear no, I ain't hear no gospel music unless I was at one of the grandparents' house, which wasn't very often because we didn't, I didn't stay. One of my grandparents lived in South Carolina, and the one other one lived across town, so we would see them maybe on the weekends, maybe. So I didn't, hearing that song was the only gospel music I would hear on the radio.
Yeah. Okay, so my last two, I was gonna do this other one, but we didn't talk about her so much. I'm not gonna I ain't gonna do it. Greetings, Dr. Blue. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome in. Okay, so what order am I gonna do these in? Da, 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 da. Okay. So this next one, God rest her soul. We know she was saved. We know what her background was. We know where she came from, how she came about, and what she went through in the end. So this beautiful soul here, as saved as she was, still decided not to sing gospel. She wasn't singing like Tasha said, drop it, pop it, and all of that. But she still fell. As strong as she was, we know that anytime she talked about God. She read her Bible. We all know her mama, Sissy Houston. And she grew up literally. I know we say sometimes grew up in church, but she literally grew up in church. Leandria Johnson ain't the first. Leandria Johnson won't be the last. But we see what happened to Whitney Houston just in her life, even being as saved and sanctified as she was. Was it the music?
I don't think it was the music. I think that Nippy, that's my girl Nippy. Nippy got caught up in the atmosphere of Hollywood and the music industry in and of itself is a very the Hollywood, it's a dark place if you're not prepared. And I believe that when Nippy got caught up in, first of all, her mother used to bring her to Sweetwater's Club, where Clive Davis used to, in New York City, where Clive Davis used to come to find new talent, right? And so she was exposed to the industry early. And so what ends up happening sometimes, and this is not just for Nippy, but a lot of the young people who get into Hollywood early, when they're not prepared for that realm, they can get sucked in. That's where the term drug, sex, and rock and roll comes from. That music industry is filled with a lot of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And I just believe that Nippy's gift, her gift, which is her gift of singing, it was taken away from us too early because Nippy got caught up in an addiction that was also fueled by her place in the spotlight, irrespective of her having that beautiful gift. And so my point is that maybe I should pose this question. Would Nippy still be here if she would have just stayed in the church genre? But then we can't really say that either because we also have some gospel singers that have addictions too. So once she crossed over into the secular world and she got caught up with Clive Davis and it was that entertainment aspect of it, they don't sleep. They do not sleep. They run their lives are fueled on drugs. And I just think that Nippy, her being taken away from us at the age of 48, it was for me a tragedy. And this is why I pray every day for Leandria Johnson, that she will not be taken away from us because her gift, her gift is being overshadowed. And I don't know how she's going to be healed from that addiction without being taken out of the spotlight for a little while. And see, that was Nippy's problem too. Nippy, in order for her, in my opinion, to fully recover, she may have needed to come totally out of the spotlight. Maybe a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years. Only God knows how we would have been able to save Nippy. But I do believe, in my opinion, that Nippy's main problem was being put into the spotlight too early, not prepared, and being around a lot of vultures that allowed her to be caught up in a system that took her out at an early age. That's it.
Now to go with Dr. Blue said, and people really skip around that of
Mm-hmm.
her living in her truth. And that has a lot to do. People don't understand. Not only do you put stipulations on people as far as where they are supposed to use their gifts, then you turn around and put the stipulation on the person as to who they're supposed to love. Say what you want to say. I might catch something on it. I don't really care. But as long as Robin was around, there were certain things that she didn't do she wouldn't allow her to do. And even in her times where she did fall, she was the one that was able to say, hey, we doing too much. We need to pull it back. We can't do this. You got to work. We need to pull it back. And she was able to do that. Once they eliminated Robin, everything they wanted to do to her, she had lost her protection. So they were able to do whatever it was to them, even their brothers, because a lot of her stuff didn't start at the church, inside of the church house. It started in her home. And if you listen to any of those interviews, any of those brothers, her mama, her daddy, everybody was against the very person who could have helped her. I
That's
still
true.
believe that if Robin was still around, Whitney wouldn't have gone as far as she did.
Now,
I
I
could be
agree with
wrong.
that. I agree. And thank you, Dr. Blue. I actually forgot about that's how much I love Nippy. I forgot about that portion of her not being able to live in her truth. I also believe that she was being a cash cow. I think somebody put it in the chat.
Absolutely.
And I believe if Nippy was coming out now, the way the society is now, she would be able to live in her truth. So for me, I believe there were multiple layers that caused Nippy to go home early to the Lord.
Absolutely.
And it just bothers me so much. I love me some Whitney Houston. She was that girl, Nippy, Nippy. I love me some Nippy.
Definitely gone too soon. Definitely gone too soon.
Uh, there was a. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Courtney.
No,
Okay,
go ahead.
there was when Whitney Houston did the movie. It was the Christmas movie. What's the Christmas movie? Lionel Richie was in it, and she was the preacher's wife. The preacher's
Preacher's
wife.
wife.
They talked about in that movie when they did the church scene, when they were singing the Christmas songs and the worship songs. They talk about, and I think it's somewhere still on YouTube. You can find it. They said that the anointing fell, and it wasn't anybody from the church that said that. These were the directors and stuff said. The director said something happened in that place, and we didn't know what was happening, but we just kept it going.
It was
Uh,
the same thing on not Dream Girls. What was that they did over? Was it they didn't do Dream Girls over? What was the movie that they did over?
With Whitney Houston,
Yeah. The
what was
last movie she did. Why I can't think of the name
it?
of it. Y'all
Wasn't
know the
Waiting to Exhale, right? It
no, no,
wasn't The
no, 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 no,
Preacher's
no.
Wife. Let me see. Oh, is it the one she did with Kevin Costner?
No, 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 no. The last Sparkle. There it is. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh,
Thank you.
Sparkle.
Sparkle.
Thank
Okay,
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Even
but
I
though
yeah,
they
they
love
were
said
that.
that
saying that in
Sparkle,
that movie, that it was so powerful in there. I'm glad that Dr. Blue talked about her living in her truth because that had to be torturous. Let me tell you something. If somebody comes along and tell me that I cannot love a man, they just say, you know what? We think we read the Bible wrong, and you cannot love a man. That would tear me all to pieces. So, and I say that to say this to tell somebody Whitney loved Robin, and to tell her you cannot love her, you
hmm
cannot be with her. That had to be something torturous for her. But I
especially
will,
somebody like Robin who protected her. She was the first person that she did pretty much everything with. So it was more than they
yeah, and
were
they couldn't even
connected.
be friends because of it. Because if it wasn't for her in love, maybe they could have been friends, and it wouldn't have been an issue. You know what I mean? She could have
Yeah.
still stood by her, but because there was that that love affair in it, or that they had romantic love for each other, that was an issue.
hmm
Um, but I will say this: Whitney Houston, in her passing, brought her funeral was on CNN, MSNBC, BET, CBS. How many people? pass and gonna be able to bring the gospel to so many networks for hours.
Because they had church.
Even so my point is this. When you have a calling, God gonna use you even in your leaving here. And sometimes we just gotta give him glory for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good. I concur with what everyone is saying. She's just legendary, amazing woman, and she is greatly missed.
She
Somebody in
is.
the chat just said it was Penny Marshall. That's exactly who it was. And Penny Marshall wasn't even a religious woman, and she was the one who said that. That it just
Not at all.
something in that church happened, and whatever it was, even Penny Marshall felt it, and they could not stop it.
Dr. Blue says Cece even told Oprah that she would never have accepted Whitney as a lesbian. She did. The way Sissy looked when Oprah said it, that look is seared in my brain. Because she looked like she wanted to say, is you the endorsed? Like, but that was your child. You can accept your sons being dope heads and taking everything you got and taking you through the river, up the river, down the street, round the block, in jail, out of jail, all of that. But you couldn't let your daughter love who she wanted to love. That's crazy to me.
And we gotta stop doing that to our children in church.
You gotta
Like,
stop.
accept what? It ain't a matter of you accepting or not accepting. Listen, they are God's child. You know what I'm saying? You love them, and that's it. That's your job. Your job is to love them. There's a lot of things that our kids do that we don't like, but that don't stop us from loving them. That don't make us push them away. That don't make them feel like if I do this, mama won't love me. Because all they're gonna do is do it secretly or hide it or when they're adult children. And I'm not saying to pat them up and wrong, but we got to stop deciding for our children what's wrong. I push my kids into having a relationship with God for themselves. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think God think about it? You got to go along with you can't go with mama's convictions. It's easy for me to say don't be lesbian. It's easy for me to say because I don't have because I'm heterosexual. So
Mm-hmm.
how can I tell my daughter what to like? I
I'm
remember my
sorry,
daughter came to
yes.
me and told me she was a gay, and I said, "Girl, you ain't telling me so." See, a mama knows. I was like, "Girl, you ain't telling me nothing. You ain't telling me nothing I don't know." When she told me she was bisexual, I said, "Girl, you ain't telling me nothing you don't. I had you. I had you, and I raised you, and I watched you. I probably knew before you did. I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't say anything because it wasn't my place to say anything. We got to stop
Um,
pushing our kids away."
oh, I was just going to say, Bless Nita, ain't no moderators or nothing. So if your comments not coming up, that's YouTube. That's not any of us. But here the thing with that is you can't put on your children what if they don't live the life that you want them to live, you can't throw them away. Because your life is not their life and their life is not your life. I might not like some of the stuff my mama do, but that's her life. She may not like some of the stuff that I do, but at the end of the day, we still love each other.
Yes, I totally agree. And that was something that used to really bother me when I was in the traditional brick and mortar church. The main church that I came out of, every Sunday, the bishop of the church used to give at the end of every sermon, we used to hear who's going to hell, who's going to hell. And I used to sit there and say to myself, wow, like who's making it to heaven, who's making it to heaven? And I believe he threw away one of his children because he found out that they were a part of the LGBT community. And I would sit there and say to myself, how could you do that to your child? Someone that is your flesh and blood. And so in my family, I love the fact that my mother raised us and even taught us as when we started having our kids, that you love your children for who they are and you nurture them, and
Mm-hmm.
you nurture them, you guide them, and when they come to you with something that may be different than what you may be used to, you find the resources to help. Like right now, I have to do, well, I'm doing training on how to help LGBT youth in my community, because that's a population that needs a lot of help.
I
And so I
love it.
thank God for that, because I don't want any child in my family to feel like they don't have someone that they can come to. If it were to ever come to their parent who is going to say, try to force them to do something else or have these false expectations. And so, as it pertains to Whitney Houston, when I saw the movie, I think that's the part of her story that always bothered me, because it has to be very torturous that you can't, like Cruiser said, I like men. Imagine somebody telling me that I can't be with the man that I love. You know what I'm saying? That would make me feel like I'm living in a prison that doesn't belong to me. So I believe that people, when you have children, you have to nurture them, you have to guide them, you work to get the resources. If you don't know, you learn. But Sissy came from, I mean, yeah, Sissy's generation, that's that generation where, there was a stigma on everything that wasn't traditional. And so Nippy did not have the grace that a lot of children have now in her upbringing, where her parents would try to understand to help her cultivate and grow in the very thing that would have also helped an entire community, but now she's gone, so she didn't even have that opportunity.
And and
What's
and
ironic
even
is that Sissy herself was around it all the time. She sang
that's
in the
another
gospel
thing.
arena.
It's that I can and you can't thing. Ma'am, sissy, rest your soul too. You seen everything
Y-
before Whitney was even born.
Honey, she
So
can point them out.
you took her into that environment. So we can't blame the church because you were already there and knew what was going on. And you took your child and put her in because you wanted to be in the limelight when you already had your own path. You had your own road. Sissy will go down just in history just like Whitney did because she was that type of singer. But you introduced your child to this. You put your child in this.
And
So
Sissy was
when
around a lot of lesbian women in the
and
industry.
then it was said, well, I mean, hey, it was reported.
I'm a
It was
moot.
okay. So when you go into that, then it's like, okay, what really is the problem? What really? What you didn't want her? You wanted they like if you live it. Speaking from experience, as long as you in secret, you are fine. The moment that you're out, you are the problem. That's not good. That's not a good feeling for someone who loves the Lord, who puts God first. They're reading their Bible every day. They're going to Bible study. They're doing all of this. And you're telling me because I love different than you do that I'm not going to make it. That in itself is a lot.
Can I share something real? I'm trying to make this real quick. I'm long winded. There was a few years ago I was dealing with the issue, health wise. And I was going back and forth to the doctor with them trying to figure out what was going on with me. Okay. And I was scared. I was very scared. Them mammograms wasn't looking right. Let's just put it like that. I was scared. And the people that was around me that I thought that I could talk to, the churchy folk, you know, was like, girl, you better keep praying. Girl, um, it was a lady that I got to know from YouTube. And when I first started collabing and knowing her from YouTube, I didn't know at the time that she was a lesbian. And later on in her doing videos, one day she popped out and said, my wife. And I said, girl, your wife, girl, you're a lesbian. What? Girl, what? But by then, it was like, okay, she cool. By then she cool. This was some years ago, some years ago. And when I was going through this, I happened to be chatting. She said, I haven't seen you on YouTube in a long time. You haven't been on. And I started telling her about, me going back to the doctor and they just, I've been going and it seemed like they're giving me the runaround. And it was during COVID. It was when COVID first happened. So getting appointments was so difficult because they didn't know what to do with what. So if the issue wasn't COVID, they wasn't dealing with you right.
Nothing.
And I remember this particular day I said, I just give up, and I was crying. And she said, I want you to get somewhere. And she don't even live in the same state as me. She said, I want you to get somewhere where you can get in a clear, quiet place, and we're gonna pray. And this woman went to pray. And I was confused. I couldn't even get with the prayer because, see, all my life I was told that, even before my parents went to church, I was told if you was gay, you wasn't saved. Period. I wasn't expecting this woman to bust out and pray like this. I wasn't expecting this woman to be a believer like this. I wasn't expecting this woman to have the power that she had to make me get up off that floor from prayer and go boldly to that doctor's office and say, look, I need an MRI. I need this. Okay, then they found something else and they had to put the needle way on in there. But it was her that helped me through all of that through prayer. She is my prayer partner now. She's my prayer partner.
That's because she's a human being. Her
Exactly.
sexuality had nothing to do with it, right? So I
That's
think
it.
it's very unfortunate that we don't see things like that sometimes, as far as, this whole conversation about the LGBT community and all of that. Everyone is human first, and I'm not judging anyone based upon their personal sexual preference. If I'm saying that right, please correct me, because but yeah.
I'm gonna say it in a better way. I ain't judging nobody based off of what they do in their bedroom.
Yep.
That's just
Because
that.
when I was in needy prayer, I didn't care. I still don't care. But ain't nobody care, and like Dr. Blue said, the Legiba Laqua, that's what I call it. Legiba Laqua can
Okay.
pray.
Hey, Queen.
Pray like anybody else and love God. And every now and then I have to encourage her and remind her, if God loved me, he sure love you.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
it.
I say all the time, and people, you try to, oh no, if God made everything, and you keep saying that God knew me before this and before my mother's mother's mother, and he knew and he made and he did, you don't think he know who I am? I had to find out who I was. He knew who I was. He didn't have to find out who I was. I had to find out who I was because of what other people said.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say that. He didn't say none of that. And it took me to study for myself to say, when did he? Okay, so. Because there's a church here called Whosoever Will. And it's an affirming church. And I always used to be like, that's just weird. And I asked the pastor, I said, how did you come up with this name? Like, where did this come from? And she said, when the Bible says whosoever, it means just that. Whosoever. She said, I don't care who comes to my church. The city or the people have deemed that the gay church. They don't even advertise as a gay church. So it's what people do. It's people's feelings, and how dare you feel? How dare you love me in front of people? That doesn't make you anything but what God said, a lover. That's just it. I am Sean. I don't title myself as nothing. I'm Sean. You can't, if you look at me, you will get mixed up because I buy and wear more women's things than you can probably imagine. But it's what you think, what you see, what you feel. And people don't get it until it hits home. It's got to be a grandkid or that youngest child. Everybody ain't like Cruiser. I thank you, because it's hard. It's
Well, my
hard.
kids did tell me that I told them when they were younger that if they were gay, don't tell me. I don't remember saying that to them, but my youngest daughter swears that I did say it, and I don't recall saying it. But if I did say it, it might have been out of fear.
fear for what society may
Mm-hmm.
do or say to them.
Mm-hmm. 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 So this last one here, I love her with all of my heart, although she is not here anymore. But I brought her up because she is deemed the most saved R&B artist out here. And that is none other than the Queen. Now, we all know that her daddy was a pastor. We all know his story. Well, some of us know his story. If you don't know his story, just go look up CL Franklin. I promise you it'll all come up. But just like Whitney, Aretha grew up in her daddy was a pastor. She knew nothing but church. Her daddy knew nothing but church people. She was friends with Mahalia Jackson, Martin Luther King, all of these great people. Is she the queen of soul? Absolutely. I think she's the queen of both because ain't a person that can squall like her in the church, and it ain't nobody that can sing like her in the secular world. So we got the best of both. But we fail to remember the struggles that she also had with alcohol.
And the men's.
And
Honey,
so
she used to put them in rotation. She's my
did
hero. I'm teasing.
no, but she did like she smoked cigarettes. She was drunk on stage at all. Like she stepped away from the gospel scene to sing R&B. Who bothered her? I wait. Where was the pushback with her?
Did
Nobody
she
ever
have?
said, "Oh, she ain't saved."
I have questions. Did she have gospel albums and stuff like that? Like, was she ever pushed as a
Yes.
gospel artist?
Yes, her gospel album probably did more better than most of the stuff she did.
She did a yearly full revival every single year.
Every year here. Every
Hmm
year, and
And I
you
think
couldn't
somebody else
get
have carried it
nowhere
on.
around the
They
corner.
still have it. Yeah, she did. She did gospels. That's where she started. And I mean, that movie they did on her was great. That wasn't it, the girl who had a talk show. Wasn't she the one that played the movie, Jennifer?
Jennifer
Jennifer,
Hudson.
now there's two. There's the respect that that's the one Jennifer Hudson was in. But the one Genius, which was a series, that movie dealt it dealt with her actual life. No holds barred. If you didn't catch it, watch it again and you will see it all. But Aretha went through a lot. She wasn't even a teen when she was pregnant. She was a kid. She was a kid when she had her first baby. Well, her first two. I think the second one she was 14. So
Yeah, she was very young.
she was a kid. You don't hear nobody out here like, well, she wasn't saved. Aretha wasn't. Why is it such different with Aretha than it was with Whitney?
Can I tell you why? Because Aretha didn't give a good hoot. When you live your life, to the point where you say, for me, when I was 40, I think 40, 41, I became very liberated. Y'all was talking earlier about going to a holiness church and not wearing earrings or makeup or something. Can I tell you, there's still no earrings in my ear, because by the time I figured out that I could wear some earrings without being convicted, I was up in my 40s, and at this point, I don't feel like getting no earrings.
It's so many people like that.
But the point, but I'm liberated now. And when you're liberated, let me tell you something. Whatever it is, y'all hear me say I'm going down to the lounge. I don't care what church folks say about me going down to the lounge.
Don't
I don't
care.
care what church folks say about me having a cocktail. And I guarantee you, and I promise you, before everything good, if I was gay, y'all would know about it. It wouldn't be no hiding if y'all would know about it.
Listen,
So when
Jesus
you live,
turned
and my
water
point
into
is
wine.
that, so my point is this: when you live your life that you really don't care what man who don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in think, then it frees you up. And I think, in my opinion, Aretha Franklin was freer than Whitney Houston. People,
Mm,
you don't leave room for a lot of judgment when you live your life somewhat free. Like I'm grown, you can judge me if you want to. It ain't gonna move nothing.
well, see, the thing is, they did because CL didn't play. CL didn't play, but it wasn't until she said, "This is what I'm gonna do." She didn't like the men, but it wasn't until she got away from him that she started going like wow, wow. But then, as Dr. Blue said, it was reported when you have a certain type of relationship with your parent, you can't be my parent and my boo at the same time. So we're gonna have to pick a struggle. We're gonna
Oh,
have to
wait,
pick
whoa,
one
hold
or the
up, whoa. Let me read this comment. Say what now?
other. I'm just saying that's how certain people feel. You on one hand you want to be my parental, but then on the other hand you want to be my boo. We got
Bless.
to pick a
Somebody said that
struggle.
she was not more free. Was she in pain because I didn't know. I knew that she had the babies by an older man, and I don't care what nobody say. When you're 14, you don't have the mindset or you can't say, okay, I'm giving permission for this relationship. I don't care how anybody put it. When you 14 and you have a baby by an older man, that's called the M word all day long. So maybe some things that she went through in her life is what made her have pain and drink, and not necessarily because of the strictness that her daddy did raise her in strictness, but when she got away and started making her own money and stuff, according to the movies, she started doing her own thing. So that pain had to come from another source, and maybe the pain came from relationships she was in that she shouldn't have been in at a very young age.
Have you seen Genius, or you just saw the one with Jennifer Hudson? Cruiser.
Sorry, I was on mute just talking. No, I just seen the one with Jennifer Hudson. When the one with Jennifer Hudson gave me the impression that she was in a
Oh
relationship
no, no,
with just
no.
older men, that she got pregnant possibly
No.
by one of her dad's friends.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you this little bit before, and then we'll talk about this again later. Watch Genius. It's about four. Is it 4 or 5 episodes? Watch Genius. If you watch Genius, you probably won't watch Respect No More. You'll probably be like, "Why did they even make this?" Watch Genius, and it'll show you exactly what I'm saying. Respect was based really on the music.
Whoa,
Genius
what
was
Dr. Blue just
based.
said.
Where it go? Where she? Oh, her oldest sons. Her oldest child is named Clarence, and her dad's name is Clarence. She named all of her sons after their daddies.
That is the word on the street.
Now, I can only say so much because I don't want nobody to disown me. But a lot of rumors ain't lies. I'll say that. But then if you look at the other side, you want to be strict and tell me what I can't do. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But Monday through Saturday, you're having parties at the house. with everything imaginable going on. So what do? That's where some of the problems come in, and where some of the struggles that she had. She took a lot of stuff to her grave, literally. You know how people say, "Oh, I'm taking this to my grave." Aretha took so much to her grave. But all in still, she she does not get the flack that Whitney Houston did. She does not get the flack that Leandria Johnson is getting. The difference between them, yeah, there was no social medias, but there's still videos. There's still pictures of her wasted, videos of her falling out. There are still these videos around here, but no matter what you see, what you hear, what they say, Aretha is still who she is. Not taking anything from her. I'm just saying the difference between how Aretha is treated and the way Leandria is treated. How when they're basically doing the same thing. And Aretha was way bigger than Leandria. How is it okay for one, but not okay for the other one? And Leandria ain't crossed over yet. So where is it?
I don't think a lot of people knew about Aretha's story like we know about Leandra's story. You know, Aretha, it was, even though we know now from media and books written and stuff, we didn't know then. You know what I mean? Not on the not on the scale like we know about Andrea. Every time Andrea decides she gonna go on a real good drinking bitch, and I love me some Leandra. I absolutely adore Leandra. But every time she feel like she want to drink real good, she always got to come outside and grab her
Aretha
and grab her a camera.
Aretha fell off the stage drunk
But
mid
how far did
concert.
but there wasn't the social media wasn't catching it. So by the time it got around, you probably knew about it because you probably you know I didn't know if until you just said she fell off the stage drunk. I ain't never knew. So my point is that we have social media where things can get around within a day. Like if Leandra be drunk, right now in North Carolina it's 8:37. If Leandra be drunk right now, we all know by 9:37. Whereas it's a lot of things because social media wasn't what didn't exist. Basically, we don't know a lot of things about Aretha like we know about Leandra.
That's that what in that yeah, social media nobody has privacy anymore. You don't know if it's the glasses, the watch, the you just don't know. So to me, when I go outside, I feel like I'm being recorded all the time. So I just do certain things or don't do certain things because I always feel like I'm being recorded. But even with social media being what it is, like you said, Cruiser, you didn't even know that Aretha fell off the stage drunk. Aretha had did interviews drunk. She had Tina Turner wasn't the only one that was doing interviews with sunglasses on. Like she was doing so much. And I don't, Dr. Blue, I honestly don't think it was the business. I don't. I don't. I don't. I think that she had saw so much. I think that even with her mother, she didn't there because she was so young. There were things about her mother that she didn't find out until she was older. They didn't even find out that they had another sister until they were good and grown. So there's a lot of things that she had to carry that her father did. And people don't understand that. So she was holding a lot and she was self-medicating. She was doing pills and it was all kind of stuff. Did she do the hard drugs? No. But I would venture to say she was a sex addict too.
Yeah,
And
she used to put them. She had them men in rotation, honey. One out,
yeah,
another one in.
Catherine. But the difference is that I was thinking about, it's like Aretha could do no wrong no matter what. But she still had struggles. They say she's the greatest gospel singer of all times to this day. With everything that she had going on, with everything that happened in her life, she's still deemed the queen of soul. She's still deemed the greatest female gospel artist.
Now, see, I never known her to Queen of Song, yes, but I never, even though I know she did gospel, I never connected her as one of the greatest or considered that.
Oh yeah, every most of the gospel artists will say Mahalia Jackson and Aretha Franklin. You don't really hear too many other females say that older, as far as older people were the ones who they that influenced them. You just don't really.
But let me say this, and I might be going wild saying this. Every time someone is drinking or doing a drug or something, we always try to find the reason behind it. Like it's got to be pain, that type thing. Sometimes just drinking, some people have addictive behaviors. Um, for
Hmm.
example, I'm one that can, I can overdo stuff like, social media. I'm probably addicted to it a little bit. So, that's why I watch my alcohol intake and I don't drink at home and I drink socially because sometimes you can just like it. You can just
Yeah.
like drinking a lot and getting drunk. And
Yeah.
that's why you drink a lot and get drunk. You just really like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not to say that she didn't have issues because it's like why some people can have life trauma and issues and they don't turn into an alcoholic and other people do. So it could be just she started drinking at a young age, those parties, and she just liked drinking. She liked the feeling of being, intoxicated.
Yeah. Tarsha, being from, because they was in New York for a minute. Did
Okay.
you ever hear anything of C.L. Franklin or her mother? Oh my God, what is her mother's name? Oh Jesus. I can't remember right now. I'm looking at it, but I can't call it. Because they were in New York for a long time.
No, I haven't. Not for me. I have not. And I'm a person that I normally don't hear anything unless I know somebody directly attached to the situation or it makes its way to the public. So no, I haven't. I haven't. But if we want to talk about addictive behaviors, I know that what I've learned from being around people who have addictive behaviors, it's a pathology that is generally rooted in some type of trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the addiction is the fruit of the trauma. And so what happens is a lot of times when, for instance, I have a very close friend who was abused by her father for many years, and she is addicted to food. And that's the manifestation of the trauma. she
Mm-hmm.
copes she copes with food. Food is her first love. So she's tried to beat this food addiction, but the problem is she hasn't tackled the root. And once you tackle the root of any trauma, then the fruit will begin to fall off. So this is why with addiction, the reason why some addictions are never resolved. In order to face the root, you have to go back to the root, which is the pain of when it first happened. And then some people have to relive that trauma over again. So what they do is they spiritual bypass. They don't want to remember when they was in a room with Uncle so and so. They don't want to have to go back there. And then as it pertains to sexual abuse, we're not supposed to say that here. My apologies. SA, right? The fruit of that, a lot of times for some young women, they become promiscuous. They become promiscuous. And then the promiscuity, it begins to be layered. Promiscuity, then there's another open door. They may develop an addiction to alcohol, smoking weed. Then that may open another door to higher level drugs that will help cope with the main root of what cause them to even have these surface level fruits that we see. And so with every addiction and every person that I have encountered who has an addiction, when we begin to talk or when they go to therapy, the main thing that drove them to the addiction was the trauma that they endured either as a child or maybe something traumatic in their life, and they just can't cope. And sometimes their coping mechanism, they're seeking something outside of themselves to help them deal with the pain of what happened to them through the trauma. And in the psychology world, they call it dissociative disorders, right? Where you don't want to you don't want to face the actual pain, so you disassociate from it. What happens with the disassociation, now you start seeking other elements that
Yep.
is going to replace happiness, joy, peace. You have post-traumatic stress disorder. And this is this is the problem of not, number one, seeking therapy, getting down to the root of these problems, because if we don't get to the root, you will never heal. And then the fruit, which is the addiction, the bad habits of overeating, and all of these different things will continue to remain.
And I think that's what's wrong with Leandria. Until she gets to the root. Because, see, they always want to tell you to pray and give it to God, but they never tell you what to do or how to do in that in between.
And
And that's where people fall at.
that's where I wanted to bring up the over spiritualization, because sometimes instead of getting the practical help that we need when it comes down to addictions and things of that nature, oftentimes, especially as Black women, um, we uh, muscle through it. We just feel like, okay, this is a part of life, and we just go through it. And like Tarsha said, then we're eating and we're picking up weight, or we're picking up addictions and habits. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because we're not because some of us were brought up that some of our uh, backgrounds do not believe in therapy. They believe in Jesus alone, and so
And to that
sometimes,
church therapy,
mhm,
them pastors,
yes,
Yep,
and
that's it.
sometimes I feel like that makes matters worse. But
you
we,
need to,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say they need licensed
Hmm.
therapists,
Yes,
not
and some people
bishop.
need, right, and some people need medication.
Absolutely.
I
I
always
know
say
Yes,
it's my
sir.
some
appendix
churches.
first, so I'm not going to the altar and lay down and tell them to take my appendix out. I'm going to the hospital.
Come
And
on.
guess
Exactly.
what? Everything is not a demon. When I was and I always talk about this, the Holiness Church, I was also part of deliverance ministry, right? Somebody would come up there with a crack cocaine addiction, and the bishop would say, "Go over there and pray. We rebuke that spirit. You spirit of drug addiction, come out in the name of Jesus." And you know what will happen? Next Sunday, the person is coming back higher than they was the following Sunday. And I got in trouble per usual. I was always getting in trouble all the time. And I would tell the bishop, listen, this is a three-prong approach. They need therapy, they need to go to a drug treatment program, and then come also here for prayer and deliverance.
Yes.
You just can't keep
Yes.
talking about Come out in the name of Jesus. Yeah, I believe in deliverance and all of that. But when it comes to addiction, addiction is a three, and this is my belief that it's a three-prong approach. Number one, you have to go to a licensed therapist, whether it's a psychiatrist, someone who
Yes.
deals, who is a specialist in addiction therapy, and you also have to go to a drug treatment program where either you stay there for some months at a time, or it's a in and out program where you can go there daily, right? And then you also, if you're a part of a church community, and then you also get your spiritual situation fixed and taken care of by a pastor who understands addiction. But the church, in my opinion, has done a very bad service when it comes to, number one, mental health disorders, and also people who have addictions.
Yep.
Everything is
And
not a demon.
Mm-hmm. Cause that the who is that? That Dr. Val, she said that like we don't need no therapies. You just need to come to the altar. You just need to, and I was like, no, no, cause you're not a
they come to,
therapist.
right, you go to the altar, you get your house, air quotes, swept clean, right? But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't put in the work to get to the root, then it is easy for uh, the demonic principalities to come back 7 times
Absolutely.
worse because you're not doing the work.
They're
This
just
is
sitting
where
around waiting dormant, just waiting to
Mm-hmm.
rise back up.
They
Hmm.
waiting for
yeah,
that magic. That magical, oh, I don't want it no more. I don't have the craving no more. I don't have the nah, that ain't it. That's not it. You got to do more than just keep coming to church. You've been coming to church for the last 15 years and you're dealing with the same thing. So coming to church is not it. You on the
right.
altar every time they have altar call. That ain't it. Every time they call a fast, you do extra on the fast. And you're still in the same spot. So that's not it. You have to teach people, these pastors, leaders, I don't care if you're male or female, you have to teach people that they have this, okay, once I come to the altar and I get saved, everything just goes away. That's not true. So when that doesn't happen, then they don't come to church because they like, well, God ain't. No, that's not how it works. You have to tell people it ain't just praying. Because the Bible says prayer with faith without works is dead. So if you ain't working in some aspect, it means nothing. You have these people that come up to the altar, you didn't put oil on them, you didn't pray, y'all didn't fell out, they didn't punch in the stomach, you didn't put the prayer cloth over 'em, and all of that. And when they get home, they have the same struggles or problems or whatever it is. They don't tell you what to do in between there. They make it like it's a hocus pocus type of thing. I don't like that.
Yeah, and see, this is why, I don't get along with hyper spiritual people. Am I a spiritual person? Yes. But let me tell you something. I have something called common sense, right? And when you hyper spiritualize everything, I believe it causes people to miss their healing. There's a young lady, someone put in the chat just now that I choose to have chemo and radiation, and some religious family members stopped talking to me because I didn't just pray and believe God. Like
Mm.
I'm Luke was a physician, and I'm a 2 years. So what we have to do, it's a three-prong approach. First of all, people always compliment me on my skin, right? And I give God all the glory. People would never know that I had severe eczema. And if anyone knows about eczema, it is in its most wicked form, it burns you up, right? And you know what happened? I had to take some things out of my diet,
Mm-hmm.
right? My diet, it was a problem. And I also had to realize what was making me break out: stress. And then I also was going to church, right? And then I had to decide, how in the world am I going to get rid of this eczema? I had it since I was a child. God showed me, number one, stop eating a lot of red meat and stop eating a lot of sweets. Because I didn't realize that when I would intake a lot of those types of foods, that was when my flare-ups were the worst. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went on a juicing. I started juicing, and I took a lot of red meat. I was basically a vegetarian for a long time. And you know what happened? My skin cleared up. I was no longer on those steroids that the doctor kept giving me. And I was going to prayer service on Friday nights. So the three-prong approach, God created medical doctors for a reason. You have your
Absolutely.
good doctor, and then you make sure you do your part, and then number three, you go and you continue in your prayer life. And guess what? You will have the physical manifestation. But these churches, they make it seem like, and I'm not talking down about church, but what I'm saying is we cannot keep hyper spiritualizing everything, thinking that that is the solution. No, we need to go to the doctor. Why are you going to the doctor? I think Cruiser gave this beautiful testimony about her sister. The doctor told her mother, your job is to pray. And I'm going to be in here doing my job as the doctor. And then all connected, God brought the healing. And this is how you get divine healing,
That's right.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
I used to have
I
a
agree.
doctor that on her button it would say, and she was my doctor. She was an actual doctor, and on the button it said, "I practice medicine. God heals." I practice. It's just practice, but God, in other words, she was saying God gave me the wisdom to treat you. But
Mm-hmm.
the healing is going to come from him. You know, it goes back to what I always say: know your place. But a lot
Exactly.
of times we blame churches, but we got to get to the place ourselves where we are. I, I say this 1,000 times a day, developing a relationship with God. We're so caught up with what man think, or when I say man,
Yep.
mankind think, and what leader, and looking for a leader and looking for somebody to give us a word and all. When you develop a relationship with God,
Don't
then
need
you're
all
gonna
that.
know for yourself to go to that therapist when you need a therapist. Like you know to go
Mm-hmm.
to the dentist when you need a dentist. You know to go to the gynecologist when you need a gynecologist. You know to go to a podiatrist when your feet hurt. You know, when you get to the point where you're stop looking, you know, and there's nothing. I believe in pastors. Look, I come from a family of pastors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I believe in that, but I also believe that you got to get to the point where you have your individual personal relationship with God, where you know for yourself, when you in it for yourself.
And everybody, and I was just about to say it. Everybody's faith level is different. Everybody's walk is different. Everybody's everything is different. So because you went up to the altar and you fell out and you got up and you didn't want to do it no more, that doesn't mean that that's going to work for the next person.
Exactly.
You can't just I can't they don't want women in churches to go to the gynecologist because that makes them feel like they're having sex. All along, you having things
Whoa, I
going
ain't never heard of
around.
that. Wait a
Oh,
minute, Jesus.
Wow, I never heard of that.
That was my first time hearing of
oh,
that.
really?
I've
Oh,
never heard of
yes.
that.
Yes,
I
there
have.
are a lot of people who, if especially as young girls, if you would you taking her to the gynecologist for
You
if she
gotta
ain't
get
having
your
sex?
yearly. You got to get your yearly stuff done.
Yeah, you got to get yourself checked
I'm
out. You got to.
listen. I'm
Wow.
telling you, there are people who don't go to the dentist. They don't get all your teeth in the back that fell out. Your head is hurting, your ear is hurting, and you just keep rubbing oil and pouring oil in your mouth. No, take your crazy butt to the dentist. But there are so many people that have these problems, and the first thing they do is go to church. If it's not fixed at church, they're not going to do it. You need to teach girls, hey, this is how you keep your hygiene together. It ain't just under your arms. You got a whole nother two areas that you need to take real good special care of. But they don't tell young people that. They don't tell little boys how to clean their penis and how they supposed to
But it's
wear
the
condoms.
parents' job. And there are some things that should not even hit the church.
Some now, some, but when you have those families that are rooted and grounded in the church and everything that pastors say is Bible, she having cramps. Well, let's pray. No, let's get her some Tylenol, or she could have fibroids, or anything could be happening. But going to the gynecologist to some saved folk means sex. So they're not going to take their daughters. There are some females that don't go to the gynecologist till they well deep into their 20s because one is not a habit, and two, well, I'm not having sex, so I don't need to go. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Are the parents supposed to teach that? Yes. But how many parents really teach outside of the church? When you have those starch church people, everything that happens in your house goes through the church.
Girl,
That you I
that
need
is
to
why
talk to
that's
the
why.
pastor if you're gonna get on birth control pills. What's the pastor got to do with my birth control? It Yeah,
I
it
don't want
does.
my daughter.
Wow.
I didn't want my daughter to talk to the pastor and the bishop. Well, my husband was the elder, but above him, our pastor was the bishop. I wasn't sending my daughters talking to no man about nothing like that.
Yeah, you know. Well, for me,
And I wish I would catch him or anybody in there talking to my daughters about things, intimate things like that with my children.
yeah,
They
I
do.
think that
I don't
that's
trust
where
that.
that's crossing. And for me, and in my opinion, I think that's crossing boundaries to
Hmm.
even get into. If my daughter come home and tell me that the pastor told her that she should, first of all, why is he giving you advice and how did it
Yeah.
get to that point? It's none of his business.
Hmm. I
And
don't.
and
I never
mm-mm.
was into all that stuff. All that. My kids went. They had when they had youth conference and stuff. My kids would go, but they went to the stuff with the group of kids. Ain't no a youth pastor my behind. Because,
Oh yeah, see, yeah.
I didn't get into any of that stuff. And it just wasn't for me because I didn't trust any of that with my kids. I always wonder what you talking about. You lose some kids. You want to be around kids all the time for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Well, I thank you ladies for coming up. Tarsha
um
Global, it is
Sean, I just have
all
one thing to say that I feel pressed to say in my spirit before we
we
close
ain't gonna
out.
stop you.
Everybody who is here, and I say this all the time on my platform, there is nothing wrong with going to number one, therapy, or seeking any type of mental health counseling, because I am of the belief that that is a part of self-care.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
It is.
listen, if you're in a place where you're feeling like you're backed up in a corner or nobody understands you, or you have been under that stigma in our community or in the church community where you don't want to go to therapists, it is nothing wrong with it. I advocate and tell anybody that
Yeah.
is a part of self-care. You take
It
care
is.
of your nails, you take care of your feet, you take care of your skin. Guess what? Your brain, your mental is an organ, and you also need to keep that in a healthy state because guess what? You only have one you.
That's
Please
it.
handle your mental health without shame. Okay, find you a good therapist that you can bond with, that matches you and your lifestyle. You can meet up with your therapist once a month to check in, but do not let anybody shame you for taking care of your mental health. And that's all I wanted to say. God bless everybody.
God
And I'm
bless you
And I'm
too.
not going to add anything with that because I co-sign every drop
Everything.
of that.
Everything.
Live in peace on purpose is all I got. Live in peace on purpose.
Listen.
The her edition, we're going to expect more of this. We're going to look for more of this. We want more of this.
Yes.
Thank you for allowing me
I'm
up on the panel. I'm going to slide on down.
Thank you for coming up. Yes, I do want to do this. I do want to do this more. Dr. Blue, I would love to have you on. I love your show. I love your perspective. And I like to talk to people who know a lot of stuff. You know, just hearsay. I like folks that really, really know. So I do thank you all for coming in. I thank you for the super chats. Prelate St. James, I thank you. I am Courtney. I thank you. Jesse, that's my boo. Jives came in. The panelists, Tarsha, Miss Cruiser. I thank all of y'all. And we gonna keep doing this because the ladies definitely have something to say. So if you have not hit the like button, if you have not subscribed, comment in the replay respectfully. That's all we do over here is respect. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to those who are here. Thank you for those who are going to catch the replay. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.